Question: how are strippers and Mormon missionaries similar? While you're thinking about that, I'll put up a couple pictures of me when I was a Mormon missionary, about 30 years and 45 pounds ago. Okay, you give up? Neither strippers nor Mormon missionaries will tell you the real first name. They want to get to know you really quickly so they can take all of your money. All right, guys, I'll be here all week. Okay, welcome to Whiskey and Literature. I'm your host, Captain Mike, and tonight I'm reviewing The Butterfly Garden by Hutchinson. This book was recommended to me by a young lady who said her name was Lilac. I don't think she was telling the truth. And she asked me, what do I like to do? And I said, I like to drink whiskey and read books. So we had a long conversation that somehow cost me $20 about books. And this was one that she really recommended, was The Butterfly Garden. So kind of on a whim, stepping out of my wheelhouse, I put this on the back shelf and on my list for books for this year. And I just went ahead and ordered it and read it. And here comes my review. In 2023, I read over 50 of the greatest books of all time, as determined by an algorithm. And they were books like Faulkner and Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, Woolf, the Bronte sisters. And I read about the authors before I read the books, because I think when you're reading those kind of books, it is helpful. I mean, if you read about Franz Kafka, it does change how you read the trial. And I was thinking about that and comparing and contrasting when I read what I could find about Miss Hutchinson. And I'm not disparaging her in any way. I think she sounds pretty awesome and someone I'd love to sit down and have a beer with. But let's go ahead and read the information I could find about her, and it's not very much. It doesn't matter if you look in the back of the book, if you look in Goodreads or Amazon, it all is the exact same paragraph. Hutchinson is the author of A Wounded Name, a young adult novel based on Shakespeare's Hamlet, and the adult thriller The Butterfly Garden, with past experience working at a Boy Scout camp, a craft store, a bookstore, and the Renaissance Fair. As a human combat chess piece, Hutchinson prides herself on remaining delightfully in tune with her inner young adult. She loves thunderstorms, mythology, history, and movies that can and should be watched on repeat. So I think she sounds pretty awesome. Now on to the specs and stats for The Butterfly Garden. Okay, this was first published in June of 2016. My copy has 276 pages, and I do really like the cover, even though the font is kind of uninspiring. I paid $9.59 for this on Audible. It's also available on Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And to be honest, I found this surprising. It is available on Audible. However, I did not listen to this at all on Audible, so I can't review that. And this is book number 1 in a 4-book series. Though I don't think this story actually continues. It's just they're kind of related in the collector series. As for the style of the book, I'll put this in the thriller, maybe mystery genre. I would consider this a frame story. In other words, the events that are recounted in the book have already occurred. And so now we have a young lady, Maya, who's being questioned by 2 FBI agents, and there she is recounting the events. And so that's, we got a frame here of the nail, and then inside of that you have what happened in the past. So I do like frame stories. We do explore adult themes in The Butterfly Garden. We have kidnap, murder, underage sex, rape, drugs, and torture. So obviously, reader beware, this could be triggering to those survivors of sexual assault. I don't remember anything being overly explicit, but it's definitely pervasive and in the novel. Okay, a brief word about the plot, and we're not going to go through it and go through the whole ending of the book, just a brief rundown of what occurs initially. So she calls herself Maya, and she's being questioned by 2 FBI agents. There has been a large fire or something at an isolated mansion. Responding units found quite a few young women there, all with big butterfly tattoos on their back, and they were almost all taken to the hospital except for Maya. And all those taken to the hospital refused to be separated or even really to talk to the authorities until they were allowed to talk to Maya. So this of course piques the interest of the FBI, which results in her being separated and questioned. And of course we've got the whole good cop, bad cop thing going on here, It might be a bit cliche, but it's probably what I would expect if I was being interrogated. The story of how the gardener abducts the girls, treats them in captivity until murdering them on their 21st birthday, and the girls' relationships who are in the garden, that is the real story. And I felt like it really did unfold nicely throughout the book. Some of the girls came to aid or help the gardener in keeping the girls in captivity. They were, in essence, trading better treatment for betraying the girls who were there. And that is a big part of the plot. And that's what the FBI are trying to find out. Was Maya complicit? And as short as that is, that's all we're gonna go through the plot and onto my thoughts of The Butterfly Garden. So I really like some things in the book. And I'm a big fan of frame stories. And the integration between the interrogation and the girl's life in the garden, that was really well done. It was almost seamless. And some of the characters I liked a lot. All of the girls were great, and they dealt with their situation with different voices. I have heard it said that a show, or a book if you will, is only as good as the villain. And the gardener, he doesn't really do it for me. Darth Vader, he ain't. He just seemed to lack that menace or something that really makes a great bad guy. Think Hannibal Lecter. In fact, the whole idea of a garden on this scale, it is a bit absurd, and I think it really hurts the story overall. And I overall had a hard time visualizing the garden and even the building where the girls lived and died. And in general, the actions of the girls, their acceptance of their situation, I mean, they were even playing hide and seek and things like that. I thought it seemed very unlikely. Maybe this could be seen as a psychological thriller, but there is quite the distance between The Butterfly Garden and Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Okay, who should read The Butterfly Garden? Well, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. If you're a huge fan of mystery or thrillers, or something that I've said has piqued your interest, feel free to pick it up. I've actually read in a couple places that the sequels in the collector series are better than The Butterfly Garden, but I'm not going to be picking them up. All right, my guys, that's it for my thoughts, and let's do the star rating for The Butterfly Garden, and I judge all my books on 5 criteria. Let's get it. Initial response, how did I feel when I finished the novel? I just gave it a 2. Recommendation, how likely am I to recommend the book? Also a 2. Style, did I like the writing style? And I did. I gave it a 4. Characters, did I like the characters? And some of them I really did, and a couple I didn't, so I'm gonna give it a 3. And plot, did I enjoy the plot of the story? And I gave it a 2. All right, guys, that is 13, and 13 divided by 5 is 2.6. So that's 2.6 stars for The Butterfly Garden by Hutchinson. And I feel like that's a pretty appropriate score for me for this book. Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, like it, it's free. Subscribe to see more of my content. The channel is Whiskey and Literature, and I do both book and whiskey reviews. But for now, my friends, oh, and I forgot to pour this earlier today. You know what to do. Turn those pages and stay thirsty. Cheers.